Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Daniel Day-Lewis. The Art of Disappearing into Greatness. Daniel Day-Lewis is widely regarded as one of the most gifted and transformative actors in the history of cinema. Known for his extraordinary dedication, immersive method acting, and minimal yet powerful filmography, he has become a near-mythic figure in Hollywood, an artist who treats each role as a total reinvention and each performance as an act of profound craftsmanship. Early life and theatrical roots. Born on April 29, 1957, in London, Daniel Michael Blake Day-Lewis grew up surrounded by art and literature. His father, C. Day-Lewis, was the British Poet Laureate, and his mother, Jill Balcon, came from a prominent acting family. This background nurtured his early passion for storytelling. Though Day-Lewis initially rebelled through mischievousness and youth subcultures before rediscovering his love for performance, he trained at the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School, where he embraced rigorous discipline and stage fundamentals. These formative years shaped his intense approach to acting and his respect for classical performance. A career built on precision. Daniel Day-Lewis' career is remarkable for its selectiveness. In a world where actors often juggle multiple projects yearly, he committed to long breaks and only accepted roles that spoke to him deeply. The result is a filmography where almost every performance feels iconic. Some of his most celebrated roles include My Left Foot, 1989. His portrayal of Christy Brown, an Irish writer and painter with cerebral palsy, earned him his first Academy Award. Day-Lewis spent the entire production immersed in Brown's condition, remaining in a wheelchair, being fed by crew members, and never breaking character. There Will Be Blood, 2007. As oil tycoon Daniel Plainview, Day-Lewis delivered one of the most commanding performances in modern cinema. His thunderous intensity and chilling ambition won him his second Oscar and further cemented his legacy. Lincoln, 2012. Playing the 16th U.S. President, he transformed completely, from voice and posture to emotional depth. His masterful performance earned him a third Academy Award, making him the first male actor to win 3 Oscars for Best Actor. The method behind the legend. Day-Lewis is synonymous with method acting, but his approach stands apart. He doesn't merely research or rehearse, he lives inside his characters. Whether learning to work a frontier sawmill for the last of the Mohicans, apprenticing as a real cobbler in Italy, or speaking only in Lincoln's gentle tone on set for months, his process requires immense physical and psychological commitment. This approach has led to rumors of extremism, but Day-Lewis describes it simply as respect for the craft, a way of giving audiences the most truthful performance possible. Retirement and legacy. In 2017, after completing Phantom Thread, Daniel Day-Lewis announced his retirement from acting. His decision surprised the film world, but it aligned with his long history of stepping away from Hollywood to live quietly, often in rural Ireland or Italy. Even in retirement, his influence endures. Directors, actors, and critics continue to study his performances, praising his ability to make each role unforgettable. The combination of rarity and brilliance has turned his work into something almost sacred in the cinematic world. An actor beyond compare. Daniel Day-Lewis' career is a testament to artistic devotion. With only a handful of films, he achieved what most actors aspire to in a lifetime: unmatched acclaim, audiences moved to awe, and a body of work that will be studied for generations. He remains a symbol of what happens when talent, discipline, and passion fuse into pure storytelling. In a medium often driven by speed and spectacle, Daniel Day-Lewis stands as the quiet master of total transformation, an artist who disappears into his characters and leaves behind only greatness. A private life behind the curtain. Despite being one of the most recognized and celebrated actors on earth, Daniel Day-Lewis has always fiercely guarded his privacy. He avoids the typical Hollywood lifestyle, rarely gives interviews, and does not participate in the publicity whirlwind that surrounds major celebrities. He has lived much of his life away from the entertainment capitals, spending long stretches in Ireland, where he enjoys woodworking, cobbling, and rural life. In the 1990s, he famously apprenticed with a master shoemaker in Florence, an escape that fueled widespread rumors but ultimately reflected his ongoing desire for craftsmanship and quiet reflection. Day-Lewis has been married to writer and filmmaker Rebecca Miller since 1996. Their relationship, grounded in creativity and privacy, has provided him with stability away from the pressures of fame. Together, they have 2 sons. He also has an older son from a previous relationship with actress Isabelle Adjani. Collaborations with visionary directors. Daniel Day-Lewis' selectiveness extends not only to his roles but to the directors he chooses. Many of his collaborations have resulted in landmark films. Jim Sheridan with Sheridan, Day-Lewis made some of his most intimate, emotionally charged films, including My Left Foot, 1989, In the Name of the Father, 1993, and The Boxer, 1997. Their partnership produced multiple award-winning performances and showcased Day-Lewis' range, from deeply vulnerable to fiercely passionate. Martin Scorsese. Day-Lewis starred in Scorsese's The Age of Innocence, 1993, and Gangs of New York, 2002. In the latter, his portrayal of Bill, the Butcher, Cutting became one of the most memorable villains in modern cinema, marked by ferocity, precision, and chilling charisma. Paul Thomas Anderson. Their collaboration produced 2 masterpieces, There Will Be Blood, 2007, and Phantom Thread, 2017. Anderson's meticulous filmmaking style aligned perfectly with Day-Lewis' immersive approach. Both films generated Oscar nominations, with There Will Be Blood earning Day-Lewis one of his 3 wins. Steven Spielberg. Spielberg and Day-Lewis' partnership in Lincoln, 2012, was a historic meeting of 2 masters. Spielberg allowed Day-Lewis room to shape the character's voice, mannerisms, and emotional rhythm, resulting in a deeply human portrayal of Abraham Lincoln. The weight of transformation. Day-Lewis' method acting has become the stuff of legend. But behind the stories lies a consistent principle: authenticity. His transformations are not designed for spectacle, they come from empathy and a desire to honor the lives he portrays. Some examples of his preparation are almost unbelievable. For The Last of the Mohicans, he lived in the wilderness, trained as a woodsman, and learned to hunt and fight with period-accurate weapons. For Gangs of New York, he sharpened his intimidation skills by staying in character, speaking in Bill the Butcher's voice, and challenging crew members to maintain tension on set. For My Left Foot, he remained physically contorted for months, resulting in injuries and exhaustion. For Lincoln, he refused to speak to cast or crew outside his Lincoln persona, even signing texts and emails as A. His process has been described as extreme, but Day-Lewis maintains that it is never about ego. He once said he simply borrows a life for a while, carrying the weight of another person until the performance is complete. A final bow. Phantom Thread, 2017, marked Day-Lewis' final screen performance before announcing his retirement. As Reynolds Woodcock, a 1950s couture designer, he delivered a performance of delicate precision, restrained, wounded, obsessive, and intricately human. The film, steeped in elegance and psychological nuance, was an apt farewell for an actor known for his meticulous craftsmanship. Day-Lewis stated that the film left him overwhelmed with sadness, prompting him to step away from acting. Whether this retirement is permanent remains unknown, but his track record suggests he values silence and contemplation as much as performance. Cultural impact and legacy. Daniel Day-Lewis' legacy is extraordinary not because of its size but because of its purity. With barely 20 films to his name, he achieved 3 Academy Awards for Best Actor, the most of any male performer. A reputation for delivering one unforgettable performance after another. A standard of authenticity and artistic dedication that has influenced an entire generation of actors. Actors such as Adam Driver, Christian Bale, Joaquin Phoenix, and Andrew Garfield have openly cited Day-Lewis as an inspiration, particularly in his commitment to transformation and deep character immersion. Beyond awards, Day-Lewis represents a rare type of cinematic ideal, an artist who cared more about the truth of his work than the spotlight that followed. His selective approach created mystery. His performances created awe. The enduring mystery of Daniel Day-Lewis. As years pass, the legend of Daniel Day-Lewis only grows. His absence from screens has made his performances even more treasured, studied, and celebrated. He remains the quintessential example of what film acting can be: an emotional excavation, an intellectual pursuit, and a physical transformation merged into one. Whether he ever returns to acting or remains retired, Daniel Day-Lewis stands as a towering figure in cinema history, a master who vanished into roles and emerged with some of the most powerful performances ever committed to film. The philosophy of a reluctant star. Daniel Day-Lewis never sought fame. In fact, he often ran from it. Unlike actors who embraced the glamour of stardom, Day-Lewis treated acting as a private, almost sacred craft. He has repeatedly said that the anxiety of performing was immense, and that the public attention following his films often felt overwhelming. For him, acting was not a profession to be performed endlessly, it was a calling that demanded total emotional surrender. He once described the process of forming a performance as walking on a tightrope across a chasm, acknowledging the profound psychological vulnerability required. This philosophy explains his rare filmography. Each project required not just months of preparation, but a complete emotional, mental, and physical immersion. Once a role was finished, he often needed years to recover. An actor driven by curiosity. At the heart of Day-Lewis' career lies an insatiable curiosity about human nature. He has said that every role he accepted taught him something new, about the world, about himself, about people who lived vastly different lives. This curiosity pushed him into learning new crafts: cobbling, sewing, hunting, blacksmithing, exploring unfamiliar cultures and historical periods, studying obscure accents, dialects, and languages, physically embedding himself in communities related to his characters. For In the Name of the Father, he spent nights in a prison cell and avoided comfort to understand the psychological toll of wrongful imprisonment. For The Boxer, he trained for a year under former heavyweight champion Barry McGuigan until he could box like a professional. To Day-Lewis, these experiences weren't stunts, they were ways of honoring the truth of the people he played. An approach that became folklore. Stories about his method acting have become legendary in the film world. He caught pneumonia on Gangs of New York because he refused to wear a modern coat during outdoor shoots. He learned to build a canoe, track animals, and reload 18th-century rifles on the move for The Last of the Mohicans. He stained his fingers with ink and wrote thousands of letters by hand to perfect Lincoln's writing posture. He went deaf temporarily on my left foot from maintaining Brown's rigid position for hours at a time. Producers sometimes worried about the intensity of his process, but the results spoke for themselves. Directors who worked with him often describe the experience as unforgettable, demanding, but deeply rewarding. the power of restraint in his performances. Though known for his intensely transformative roles, Day-Lewis also mastered the art of subtlety. Many of his strongest moments on screen come from small gestures, a shift in posture, a deliberate silence, or a controlled stare that conveys volumes. For example, in Lincoln, his soft, almost whispering tone redefined a president often portrayed with grandeur. In The Age of Innocence, his emotional restraint made his character's internal conflict heartbreakingly visible. In Phantom Thread, a slight tightening of his jaw or the smallest change in gaze signaled profound shifts in mood. This ability to express emotion with microscopic precision set him apart from actors who rely heavily on dramatic intensity. Awards, honors, and critical recognition throughout his career. Day-Lewis accumulated some of the highest honors in film: 3 Academy Awards for Best Actor, My Left Foot, There Will Be Blood. Lincoln, 4 BAFTA Awards, 2 Golden Globes, a Screen Actors Guild Award, numerous critics' prizes, and Lifetime Achievement Awards. These accolades reflect an extraordinary achievement. Nearly every major performance earned critical acclaim. Film scholars often describe Day-Lewis as the most consistently excellent actor of his generation. Influence on modern acting. Daniel Day-Lewis' approach reshaped the expectations of dramatic acting in cinema. His influence can be seen in a new wave of performers who embrace deep, transformative preparation, including Christian Bale, Adam Driver, Joaquin Phoenix, Andrew Garfield, Eddie Redmayne.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.